and mainly includes with children. These these are just some simple an example of what you can do indoors. In our apartment, we don't have much sunlight. We have a bunch of trees, and only sunlight we have are in our bedrooms, next to near our windows. So that's the only sunlight we have. We thought that we couldn't plant anything in our place because everything dies with not enough sun. We learned over time that we can do sprouting, and we can also do microgreens. And this is just one of the examples and techniques that we are going to be doing. And I will show a little later what the sample mini project that my children had done when they grew their little sample seeds, and it became successful with their little project. So these are the seeds we're going to do. You don't have to get these seeds, but this is for starting out at the time until we order some more seeds. In a larger bundle, where we have a larger amount for a cheaper price. But for now, this is what we're going to use. This is the container that we got, and if you can, which it was very difficult for us to find, paper towels that are unbleached to just purchase at a store. Now, if you're near a store where you can purchase some, that's great. If you can't find one that's close to the natural resources, unbleached if you can. If not unbleached, just bleach naturally without the chemical bleach. This is may not be the best one, but this is close to natural that I can. The one that has the FSC on the package. That's the one. That's one of the ones that you want to look for. So this is one Viva brand. It's thick like cloth and is very absorbent. What we did was we bought these containers from the Dollar Tree. These rectangle containers, where the paper towel is where the seeds are going to be, and this is where your bush, your microgreens are going to be grown on right here. What we did, what this tray right here is BPA free. So you want to make sure you get containers, if you can, that, pay attention, if you can, that is BPA free, and whatever other chemicals that may be in it, that is free of. So we got this, and I used a knife. If you have a box cutter, it'll probably do you better, but I have a knife. This container, I use this knife to make slits on the side here. Box cutter would be much better because you can just go right through the slit once or twice, and it will make the slit clean for you. But in my case, I don't have it with me, so I have this, and it worked well. And the slits are for you to put the paper towel through the slit on each side, to come down on each side, and you want to center it. Fill the water with, it could be rainwater, or it can be filtered water, or spring water. Fill it with clean water into this container. I prefer you not to use purified water, as some can contain added minerals and chemicals to it. So anyway, what happens is the water is going to walk up what they call it will wick up, called wicker. So it will wick up the paper towel to the center. So it will, see, it's absorbing. It's almost to the center. This line right here, the water is not there yet, but it's filling in. So it's been sitting here for a little bit, only for a matter of a few minutes. And it came on up. It's absorbent like a cloth. And you put your seeds on top and space them out. And then what I'm going to do after I put the seeds on, we're going to cover the container with something else, like maybe another container on top, and then put it in a dark space. So that way that will encourage the seeds to grow, because the seeds will think it's nighttime. If you're doing it in daytime, then put it in somewhere in a dark area where it encourages them to grow. Think that it's nighttime. If you're doing it at night, perfect, because everyone's laying down to get ready to go to bed. And so that's what we're going to do. And then the next day, you can take a look at them. You can check them out, see if they're sprouted. Probably about day 2, you will see little tiny sprout peeping out of the seeds by day 2 or 3. Mainly by day 2, you see that. By day 3, it should have them sprouted a little more. And then by day 4, it sprout more and more, depending on which seeds you have. Some seeds will not sprout as fast. Some seeds will take off. So after day 3 or day 4, you want to, everyone has their preference, you want to uncover them if they sprouted enough, and go on ahead and put them, just uncover them and let them sit out in the open and maybe get a little light. Don't put them in direct sunlight or anything like that, or directly in the window, but you can let some indirect light come in to them a little bit, and they'll start to photosynthesize some more and turn a little bit green from yellow. And then they'll continue sprouting until you have a full bush. Now, I know I explained a whole lot. Now let's get going with the demo. Okay, so we got these seeds, turnip. These going to be turnip greens. And this is, you want to get organic or non-GMO. Why are you so close? You want to get non-GMO or organic. And so this is how much is inside of the package of just one. We're going to do about 3 packages. If it's not enough, we're going to put more. So just wanted to show you, this is for starting out, but this is the reason why I say that later on we want to order or find someone locally that grow their own stuff that probably will sell you some seeds for a larger bundle, a larger pack of seeds for a reasonable price. And you get more out of it with your money than buying little packages like this at a time. Okay, now let's go ahead. Here, babe, pour. What are you doing? So, go ahead and pour slowly. You gotta scatter it, so you gotta sprinkle. Not too hard. Not too hard. We're gonna get it. Keep it on here. There you go. There you go. Not too much. You get on the side. Put it on the middle, like kind of in the middle. We're gonna spread it out. Go ahead. Just yeah, like that. But more in the middle, and then we'll spread it out. And we may do 2 packs. It may be enough. Now we're going to spread them. Some is getting under the paper towel. Hold it. We're going to get some of these seeds from out of here. They will sprout, of course, but we don't want them hiding under here. They won't sprout as well straight up. You want them to sprout straight up. So, okay. I had a dehydrator, which has 6 trays. These trays are big. I can't remember the size of them, but they're big. And they also have, they also have this, it's BPA free and everything. And it has this sheet layer, plastic, over, that has holes in it. And since I have not been using my dehydrator and will not be using it for a while now, because I have other means, to dehydrate some things, other ways, I'm doing more sprouting and microgreens now. This will be a perfect tray for me to do some microgreens on. And it has the holes through them. I don't have a tray to put underneath these right now until I order some or find some somewhere, some flat trays without holes in them to capture the water. But I have it laying over a sink hole. So whenever I want to water them, I can just bring the tray here or get a pan or something and put right over it or inside of it, and water it every day or mist spray it until the seeds that I'm going to make grow into microgreens start to sprout. And I'm going to cover them. I can cover them with a paper towel or another bigger container over it or something like that, to keep it in the dark, or keep it in a dark area where, out of sight, where they can germinate and grow until it's time to put them in the sun a bit. I just wanted to show another way if you don't have anything else at the time and you want to do some microgreens right away. If you have a dehydrator or something and you're not using it, you can use your little trays to do some. And I'm going to do the clean method. I'm going to lay paper towel here. I'm going to do two sides. So I'm going to do one side here, one side there of microgreens, one set, maybe some mustard and maybe some radishes on the side of it or something like that. And that's it. And when I harvest it, it should be easier because I can just lift the paper towel up, or this whole thing up right here, and lift it up and take it off and wash it. That's it. And I have 6 trays, so that'll give me plenty of space to have something to put my microgreens in and grow them. Shalom for now. Okay, so just want to show you real quick. These are the curly kale microgreens. Inside, if I can zoom in, inside there are, I can't really get a good zoom in, but those little hairs, little fuzzy hairs, ooh, I cannot get it, I can zoom in. But anyway, those little fuzzy hairs are not mold or anything like that. They're naturally that way on the roots. And as they grow, you don't see them as much anymore on the stems, but only at the bottom of the roots, where the roots are. Just wanted to try to show you what a clean microgreen bottom looks like on a paper towel. But unfortunately, I can't get a good zoom in with my camera. So, but that's the best that I can show you there. And it's under my hand, so it might look a little dark because of that. But if I hang it, see? So, just wanted to show you that for those who may be a little bit confused about the microgreens on a paper towel. If there's any mold, how would you know what it looks like? There's nothing but the fuzzy hairs of the roots. That's it.
That was cool, right?
Okay, so how I'm going to harvest the mustard greens. They turned beautiful and tall. They are a little over 2 inches tall, and some are getting a little bit kind of falling down a bit. It's time to harvest the mustard greens. Okay, so you can use a sharp knife to go right across here, and from down like close to the bottom, closest to the where the root is, but not that far down, but just as close. Or you can have a clean pair of scissors and chip away. Well, not really chip away, but cut away, you know, like here, straight on across, like that. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. When doing it this way, aquaponically, with the paper towel, um, with the paper towel downward inside of the container in the water, you want to change the water out 2 to 3 days, every 2 to 3 days. And me, I change it out every 3 days, or until I see it start looking cloudy or just a little bit, just to be on the safe side, so there won't be any mold or anything turning my greens sour. I change the water out as soon as I can. Also, make sure that as it grows that you do not have any foul odor. The natural odor of the plant is what it is, but make sure it has no unnatural odor like very strong, mild, unpleasant, anything like that. And if you're not sure if that's what it is from a distance, just go to your plant, and I do that a little bit, and I smell it. And if it is the natural smell of the greens, then it's okay. But if it smells strong, something's going on inside. And I always check the bottom to make sure there are no gray, black looking specks growing on the paper towel. Sorry, I'm moving kind of fast, but that's what I do. I always do that to check to make sure that there's none of that growing around. I had a mistake of doing that with a batch before and had to toss it out, but it was due to not changing the water soon enough. So you have to be cautious of that. Some people will say use a little bit of baking soda or hydrogen peroxide in some water and spray. I've done that before. It did not save my plant. It was already ruined. And so if you want to use that, you can do it that way. I choose not to do it. I do monitor my stuff carefully now and just keep up with everything, and it tastes great. Don't have any problems with mold or anything like that growing. And I always make sure when I open my window to let some air flow through, because it needs some air sometimes, like as if it's outdoors. And if it's not that much wind blowing, I'll, do a little fanning, with something for a little bit. Or if you have a little fan, you can turn on a little fan from a distance and have some air circulating around for a little bit. So that way, so that's what you want to do. It's not difficult. It's very simple and easy to keep up with. Not much maintenance that you have to do to grow these. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest them now. Okay, I'm not so sure if this will show good. Let's see if I can zoom in. See this, after I harvest it, I probably didn't do such a good job but chopping with my scissors, but this is what I harvest so far. And these are the remaining of greens that have not grew tall enough yet, that started blooming late. If you want, you can go for a second harvest and just get whatever you can get out of it, and then that's it. But just want to show you here, see the paper towel, how white it is. See? No bacteria, no gray, no black, no specks in between. You want to make sure it smells fresh like the greens, and you want to make sure that there are no bacteria or anything growing in there. I'm trying to zoom in, but my camera is not focusing as well. So just showing you this, you can have a clean harvest without any type of bacteria or anything growing, without using peroxide and baking soda and whatever else. You can if you choose, but just showing you in different spaces, different spots, how clean the paper towel looks. Okay, and it smells great still. So I just want to let you know that this is what it looks like when you have good greens growing here. You don't have to worry about any kind of bad greens, and especially if you're new and you're not sure if your greens are fresh enough to eat or whatever. Always, always, always pray over your food. Okay, we pray over our food that are live food mostly, but pray over your food in general, cooked or live, fresh, raw, that the Most High Yah has created for us, gave to us, and the state that it was in, and not eating unclean food. This is clean food, healthy for you. Can't go wrong with it. And He will protect you from any disease if you continue to be obedient to His word and eat the food that is medicine for you. And there's more to it than just that. But speaking on the food part of it, that's one thing that will keep you from disease. Okay? Okay. So this is the beautiful, beautiful purple color that are still sprouting. I'm going to go ahead and let it go for a second harvest and trim away whatever else that sprouts, that grow. Okay, I have curly kale. I only did a small bunch. This was a small pack bought from the store, like Walmart, organic. And I used 2 packs just to make this little bunch right here. And I can't remember how old this is, but this has reached about 9 days. About 9 days old, about going on 10 days. This been growing great. Yeah. And curly kale, this has been very good. Very, very good. I will show some earlier pictures of what it looked like beforehand. I might be wrong on how many days it's been before it grew out to this. Well, I will check the date. Good. So I'm about to harvest this now. I wanted it to grow a little more before I harvest it a little earlier, just to see how it look. And as you can see, the little petals, I'm trying to zoom in. You can see the little got a little 4 leaf right there. Yep. And most of the seeds have fallen off. Most of the shells there had fallen off to the ground. A couple are still on there, but normally they will fall off the more they grow. So I'm going to harvest them the same way. I did do this a little different. While they were germinating, I made a dome-like atmosphere, like a greenhouse atmosphere with the glass, and I placed it over it on top, and it fits perfectly with this medium-sized clay pottery plate that goes under a clay plant pot, and I put a smaller one in the center with the paper towel here, and the paper towel dangles. So when I pour, all I do is pour water in here. Oh, I don't have any water to do, but pour water in here. That's all I do, and then the towel is going to absorb the water, and it's going to feed the water to the plants gradually, so I don't have to keep spraying them and watering it. And then once it's time to put it in the sun, I take the cover off and pull it out of the darkness and put it where I can get some indirect sunlight. These are the cut mustard greens that I cut last night, and I put it in a glass bowl with a paper towel underneath and a cheesecloth on top. It don't have to be cheesecloth. It can be hemp material or another paper towel, but mustard seed microgreens, they should not be mucky. They should look like this after being cut, and they should not have a foul odor. Mustard greens do tend to have its own strong earthy odor, which is not unpleasant, but if it has a moldy, unpleasant odor, then you don't want to eat it. But it should look like this, not mucky or wet looking or anything like that. When I first cut it away before storing it, it did have a good moisture to it, but this is what it looked like the next day. It still looked fresh. It looks a little more dry. Pea shoots. These are garden peas, though. Garden pea shoots without soil, only by paper towel. And they've been thriving ever since in this not small, but this medium-sized pottery plate. They'll fall down when they don't have enough water. But as soon as you give it a little water, a little mist, or put a little water at the bottom and let it rotate all around, they come right back up. These are very easy to keep up. I see. This is my daughter's lentil plant. This was her sample plant. She don't eat it. She don't care for lentil that much, but she just thought to do it as a project, just to grow something. And she don't do much to it. Just leave it alone at the window, and she just water it, spray it a little bit, and that's it. As you can see how the roots gathered around each other. We sprouted some lentil in a jar, and it's been 4 days, I believe 4 days, and this is a 14-ounce jar, used jar. Can't remember how much sprouts I put in here, but I put probably like 1/4 of a cup, I believe 1/4 of a cup. I'm not sure, but anyway, I didn't put that much. I put maybe like from here to down here of lentil, and look at it. It's full. It's so full at the top. This is cheesecloth for straining, and it's so full. And I'm going to rinse it, and then I'm going to open it and store it in a dry container. I'm going to probably put a paper towel on top of it when I put it in a container to keep it dry a bit, so that way it doesn't contain so much moisture and wilt. Shh. You can do that, or you can do the same thing in the jar. Put it in a dry jar, and I like to put a kind of like let the lentil sit out in the sun for a couple of hours to let it turn green a bit. The roots of it turn a bit green, photosynthesize first. It's nighttime, so I'm not going to do that tonight, of course, because no sun. So I'm going to wait until in the rising and let it do that first couple of hours in the rising, and then but I'm going to lay it out on a paper towel and let it kind of air dry. And then I'm going to store them in a clean, dry jar and put them in the fridge. They can last a couple of weeks in the fridge. If they taste any type of bitter way after a week or so, then of course you wouldn't want to eat them. But they shouldn't. But they can last over a week. They can last 10 days or maybe a little bit more. So you can eat this with anything. With salads, you can eat it. You can steam it a little bit to put it with some food, or put it, sprinkle some in some soup, or however way you want to eat them. Eat them by itself if you like. My baby girl likes to eat them raw by itself. Just pick some and eat it for protein and stuff. She likes that. Alrighty then. Shalom. Oh yeah. And it only takes less than a week to sprout a jar of lentil. Everything that you may sprout in a jar may not sprout as full as, may not sprout the same or as full as some other seeds or legumes. So, but yeah. So I just want to let you know you can have sprouts within a week and be eating them. Very nutritious. Shalom this time. Okay, so these are clovers, red clovers, and sprouting. I only put a little bit in there just to see how much it sprout. Since my children don't care to eat them, I'm the only one that will be snacking on these. You can sprout these in just about anything or on anything without a medium. You can use a medium and then you don't have to. A medium, they will root like coconut coir or soil. But paper towel, no, they won't root, but they'll grow. They'll still grow as if they have a medium. And these are mung bean sprouts. I think they're mung bean sprouts. And I had to split them into 2 jars, the same size, because in one large jar, I started from down here with a small amount from down here, and it has swollen all the way up into a large jar, so I had to split them. So when you do mung beans, you don't have to do a whole lot, just to sprout some, because they will swell unless you're doing it for a large family. So So yeah, these are moon beans. Only took a couple of days for them to sprout. Day 4 going into day 5. This is day 4. By Friday, by the 6th day of the week, they will be much, much longer. And as you can see, it's already full. This jar is already full up. So they're going to have to be eaten probably before then. But they do have a 2-day growth to be at the very, very top. And to where I will not be able to shake it.
That's
Okay? So these are sunflower seeds. Most people use the black sunflower seeds. I just went and bought organic raw sunflower seeds from our local market to see how they would turn out. And this is day 3 for them, and they are already sprouting. I just put them in a strainer like this and cover it with a piece of cloth on top. But first I soak it overnight, or for a couple of hours, like maybe half a day's time. But I soak mine for a little more than that. And then I rinse them and I put them in a strainer. And then I repeat the rinse in the strainer day and night until they sprout. Now that they sprouted, I'm going to put them in some soil. Make sure that make sure they don't overclump each other too heavily, because then it's okay if they overlap, but too much of them overlapping in a pile can cause it to mold around the seed, and you don't want that. Also, you want to make sure it has a little air circulating too, because they will grow some mold on it. I had to throw away some previously because it molded kind of quickly. So therefore, I just want to let you know that, so you can be aware, so you won't have to make the same mistake over and over. I have red clover sprouts. They are green because after 5 days of sprouting them, I put them in the window after I pre-rinsed them the last time, and then left them in the sun for a couple hours in the window, and so it can photosynthesize a bit and turn a bit green. And this is I think about 14-ounce jar, and this is how full it became, a full jar. And it will sprout this way. I only put like 2 tablespoons in this jar of the sprouts, and I have 2 jars of these, which are the mung bean sprouts. I let them sprout an extra day and a half more, and they had swollen all the way up to the top. See if I can get the rubber band off some kind of way. Oh, nope, I can't. Now, I think I can get it this way. And whoop, there they are. I let them sit in the sun to photosynthesize for a little bit too. And as you can see, they grew leaves. Little leaves there. They sprouted leaves on there. Now, I'm not so sure. This is my first time sprouting moon beans, but I think you're only supposed to sprout them just enough before they sprout into leaves. They tasted great, and a bit, a little bland, sweet taste to it, just a little bit before the leaves. But I guess after a day or two, day and a half, so later, it sprouted leaves, and now it have more of the bitter, just a slight bit bitter, earthy taste, because the leaves are sprouted. You can eat it like that, or you can eat it before it sprouts the leaves. But I think that you're supposed to most likely eat them before the leaves sprout, unless you plan to grow them longer. But this is my first time. This is the experience of mine. And I just wanted to show you how full they are. This is what they look like. And how long that they are to the tail. Big crunchy. They're good. Next time I will sprout them. Start to eat them and store them and eat them a day earlier instead of waiting longer. I waited like almost 6 days, and see what they taste like. This is what it looks like after I took the top off and kind of fluffed up the top because they were packed down in there. Very full, and I only put a small amount down here. That's it, just to here, and it swells up all the way up here. But not only that, it was in a bigger jar, and I split it in half after about 2-3 days of sprouting. And then after I split in half in 2 separate jars, it still filled up more and more and more. Okay, so this is what it looks like after in the bigger jar that I started it out in the first place. This is what it looked like filled up to the top after I took some out of this, what is it, 14 ounce jar sprouts. And see, I have half left that's loose in there. It's half loose, and I took half of that and put in here. As you can see how it, or more than half, because the top, it was overflowing at the top. I have another jar in the fridge, this same size, filled up to the top, that I'm going to have to separate as well to give it some air, some room, because sprouts, when you put it in the fridge, it's going to slow down the growth of the beans, of the sprouts. Not completely stop, but it's going to slow it down a whole lot. So it's still living food, and you don't want it to overcrowd where it creates a lot of moisture, especially within the glass, and then it turned bad. So you want to make sure it has some room where it stays dry and have some air in between. Some people cover this with the top, a jar lid. I cover mine with with like the cloth right here, the cheesecloth, a piece, or maybe a paper towel and a rubber band over the top. The paper towel will contain it almost like as much as a lid would, but yet it keeps it dry and not create too much moisture inside of the jar. So you don't want it to create too much moisture inside, because then it won't last too long, as far as what my experience of previously sprouting. That's what happens. Everybody store their stuff differently, but this is what I do with a jar. All right. So this is what I do. I cut a sheet. So we have apple seeds. These are, I forgot what they're called, but these are, what are these called? Pink Lady. These are Pink Lady apple seeds. I live in Florida, north central Florida. I was told that in this climate at this time, which is still winter going into spring, it's not the best time to grow apples, nor is Florida is really a state where apple trees thrive at. But I've heard stories and seen videos of apple trees being able to grow in certain parts, and depending on which kind of apples also that grew best here. I don't know about these type of apple seeds, but they're, as you can see, this is day 2, or Actually, yeah, this is day 2. And this is what they look like so far, day 2. This is, that's 1, there's 2 and 3 that had opened up. There's another one opening up now, which is 4. So, only thing actually there's another one there, I forgot, in the corner, had to open up. Now, they are germinating, but I'm not sure what will happen next, if I will have them in the right condition to continue them off to turn into a tree. But I'm going to try, and I'm going to see what can happen. If all else fails, then that's point proven that I can't grow these, or maybe I have to try a particular apple seed to grow in the right condition. Okay. Apple seeds. These are the Pink Lady apple seeds. They have sprouted in the wet paper towel that I kept in a jar, covered up the lid to keep the moisture in. And it's been about 6, I'm assuming 6 days or so. And look how well they sprouted. This one is still got the shell on top of it. This one came out of its shell and opened up beautifully. This is the shell right here. So, and a couple of these are starting to sprout late, and some are not. So, get rid of the ones that won't even sprout, and the ones that will continue. I'm about to plant these individually in these small little pottery plant pots right here. A couple of these, and see how it turns out. Tomatoes, we planted them after we germinated them in paper towel in a jar. And some of them are sprouting already out of the soil. We put some in some ice trays. A ice tray because we ran out of seed starting trays. So some are already reaching. Cherry tomatoes, and these are apples. These are the apples. They are sprouting. They are getting up there. Look at that one. Wow. And we got some more cherry tomatoes here. And when they get bigger, then we will take them out, put them in bigger pots. And this is ginger. Regrowing ginger from old ginger roots that made nodes. We broke the nodes, the pieces of ginger with nodes on them, and put them in moist soil. Ooh, look how they look. Yeah, cute. They look good. They are growing great. Then we're going to have to take them out. We're going to have to separate. You're not light, baby. You're not light. We're going to have to separate them soon. Separate them soon so they can have more room to grow more. Yes, this is growing great. Ginger roots. And it only been a couple of days. And when we put it sideways, with laying slightly sideways, kind of upward instead of downward. And we don't bury it all the way down into the soil. Just part ways, almost covered with soil, and we covered it with paper towel and cardboard on top. Or you can use leaves or pieces of chipped wood or whatever on top to keep the moisture in. And it's working. So I'm just using what I have. And we have some more tomatoes in the pot. So we have tomatoes here, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One in the corner there. So waiting on. Oh, there's 9. Oh, okay, I see another one here coming up. All right. The apple seeds, the seedlings. Look at how they are growing. Wow. Especially that one. So we got those. Those are going about as well. And so we got the tomatoes. I'm using an ice tray because I ran out of other trays for them at the time. And I will be replacing them, transferring them to something bigger. But they are getting up there, and the tops of them are coming off. Here's some more tomatoes. These are cherry tomatoes. And I have some in here as well. And they are getting plenty of rain. So those are what I am growing right now. That's in the window. I have more somewhere else too. These are salad bowl lettuce. I have 2 small ones hanging here on this gate. It's actually a baby gate, but I set it up to use it to hang my stuff on here to get sunlight and to make less space. So these are leggy, but they are photosynthesizing now, and they can be planted aquaponically, or yes, so that way they can continue to grow, or hydroponically. And this is the romaine. The romaine lettuce has been growing the longest time, and they've been sustaining. I need to transfer them. I am starting to sprout to grow the roots of this. What is this? I'm starting to grow the sprout of this onion, which is a shallot. And these are green onions. And these are green beans, garden green beans. They have fallen all over to the side, all over the place. I never sprouted these before, but this is my first time. But they've been sprouting for a while now, for almost 2 weeks now. They are very tall. They were very leggy at first, but now they're getting thicker, and I can individually sprout these. And this is my baby girl's, what were these? Lentil. She's been sprouting these for 2 weeks, going on 2.5, and they've been eaten down, and then they just grow right back. Some have fallen down, gotten more leggier, but they just keep growing. As you can see, the roots, if you can, the roots of them are how they grow and wrap around each other as opposed to support each other or support itself as a plant. So that's very interesting. It reminds me of the Hebrew symbol samet, as a thorn, and yes. So to support. That's one of the meanings to it. So that's what this reminds me of, the way that the roots have grown, wrapped around. So now, this is the ginger that I'm regrowing inside of our apartment. I keep the top part. I mixed it with a spray bottle of water because it doesn't have drain holes. So I do that to keep it moist, and place a paper towel on top. And as you can see, they have been rooting, and there's more, and there's more. So they are doing great. See, the root system is working. And that one's sticking straight on up now. Alright. Apples. These were pink lady apples. And look, they're turning pink. Some of them are turning pink. The stem. Wow. Beautiful. And these tomatoes, they are leggy. It's time to propagate them. It's time to transplant them, but it wasn't supposed to be until March. So I'm going to have to do it hydroponically, so that they will grow fuller into a tree or vine tree. These are growing. Some are still budding. My first time, and it's easy. You can do it too. They just need some sunlight and a little air and a little water, just to keep the soil moist at all times. That's it. No overwatering. Just make sure it's moist enough to where it feels damp but not soaked. That's the key. All of these tomatoes, these I have to put in a larger, a little bigger, deeper cup or pot. I have, and put these in a bigger space by themselves. And I still have many more to plant. These are cherry tomato trees or vines that are growing. And this will do good in here because there's the window. And this is the ginger from the not old ginger, but ginger that I bought, organic ginger I bought from the store. They are rooting. Wow. They are rooting up. Yeah. They are up there. This is great. They're growing well. There's more. They're doing excellent. It's been about 2 weeks since I took my old ginger that was making little nodes and broke them into pieces and planted them. This is a small oval pot. I'm going to put it in something a little bit bigger until till my mom picked them up to transfer them to her space in her yard, because I live in an apartment. She lives in a house with a yard. She has plenty of space. I may keep me one and give her the rest. Okay, so I got the ginger here that I am going to transplant. This is a smaller pan into something more larger and a little deeper. I'm going to gently take this out and try not to destroy the roots, the white roots that are growing. And I loosened up one of them, but they're kind of attached to each other, so be gentle with it when you do it, or pull it all up together and maybe they will loosen as you pull them up together and the soil falls off. Make sure that before you do that, you set up your soil and moisten it first. Moisten it first with water, but only enough to where it cakes up, not too moist. Just enough to cake up together but fall apart, like that. But it's moist enough. It doesn't need too much moisture, but it don't need to be dried out too much either. So as long as you keep it moist and keep it covered. I'm going to cover it with this organic bag of organic garden mix. It has loose pieces in there, looser dirt. You see how it has like wood chips in it.